What fictional character do you feel bad for the most? Any character that loses their glasses. Then while they are crawling on the ground looking for them, the glasses get broken. I have no idea why. But that moment always makes me feel worse than most other things. Why is everyone so mean to Charlie Brown? Also, Courage the Cowardly Dog had to put up with a lot of BS. The girl squirrel from The Sword in the Stone animated film. If you haven't seen it, the protagonist Arthur gets magically turned into a squirrel and a girl squirrel falls in love with him. When Arthur got turned back into a human and left her all heartbroken and crying, it genuinely upset me. As a young kid, it was one of my first experiences of feeling real pity. And it's stuck with me ever since. The Little Match Girl. She is homeless, starving, freezing, and lonely. Then she dies. Goofy. I am sure anyone around 30 or so who has seen the Goofy movie understands exactly what I mean. Faramir. I always feel bad for him when I rewatch the LOTR trilogy for the umpteenth time, the extended edition to boot, which tells more of Faramir's story. All the kids that go to Hogwarts when HP went there. Shit man. I'm just trying to create a potion that will make broccoli taste like chocolate. Now I gotta fight a war with giant snakes, racist wizards, and shit. I felt bad for Jerry from Parks and Rec until it was revealed he has a massive dick and a hot wife. Any citizen in the same city as a superhero. At some point that shit has to get old. Honey. An evil villain is going to release toxic gas at 5 p.m. if Pickleman doesn't surrender himself. Are the gas masks in the kitchen cabinet or in the RV? Edited to add. I legit pulled Pickleman out of my ass and didn't know it was a real thing. Sorry for the unintentional reference. The Cabbage Cart Guy. Butters. This poor kid is always manipulated by his friends and grounded for everything. I always felt bad for poor old Edward Scissorhands. His pop died before giving him real hands. Sad face. John Coffey from The Green Mile. Major Harry Potter spoilers. George Weasley. Killing off just one of the Weasley twins. Killing both. Less than. Klaus from the Umbrella Academy. Literally gets kidnapped and tortured for like 2 days without any of his siblings noticing. Also brought up seeing dead people, which would obviously screw up any child. Was locked in a cemetery for hours, etc. No one really cared about him and just saw him as this stoner and couldn't see the whole time he's basically calling out for help. Also Dave's sad face. Jack's Friend in Titanic. Imagine. You sneak onto a world-class cruise with your best friend in the whole world. Only for him to completely ignore you for a mediocre girl. Only for you to fucking die when the ship sinks. Uncle Iroh. Compared to other fictional characters, he didn't go through that much. But damn, they make his pain feel so intense. Loses his son and then gets shamed for quitting because of it. Rickety Cricket. All the Clone Troopers. Doofenshmirtz. Jesse Pinkman. Eeyore. Depression sucks. Todd in the episode of Community where they divide into study groups. No offense. Ice King from Adventure Time. All the man wants is someone to love. I mean, yes, he is going about it in the worst way possible, but still. All he has is his penguins. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Sydney Prescott. She's had, what, 8 different serial killers after her? Pretty much everyone she's known or dated has been brutally murdered. And all because she did nothing. She did nothing to deserve a life of torment. The brother and sister from the Grave of the Fireflies. That one lady who gets picked up by the pterodactyls in Jurassic World and then almost drowns before getting picked up again only to be eaten by a mosasaurus. All she did was say her fiancé couldn't have a bachelor party. Squidward. Frodo. He ends up burnt out. With severe PTSD. A missing finger. Lasting blade venom and spider bite toxic shock. His achievements are unknown in the Shire. He remains a casualty of the War of the Ring. Herschel Green in the Walking Dead comic. Lost his eldest kids to walkers. Goes to the prison. Youngest kids get beheaded and then during the attack on the prison. His last son gets shot and killed as they're trying to escape. Gives up on life and begs to be killed. There are so many characters you could say the same for. But I'm currently rereading it and his character is among the most tragic. Teddy from Westward. Poor guy has been treated like shit by everyone. Mayhees Hughes. Rip Hughes. Tom Robinson from To Kill a Mockingbird. Joey Tribbiani. Everybody gets a character development except for him. He gets dumber and dumber and it's just sad. Edit. I remembered watching great video essays about Friends by a YouTube channel called The Take. Here is Joey's. If we all look at 321, we all realize Joey is always a thoughtful friend. Thus, I'm so sorry my fellow Redditors. But there goes the argument of Joey's development in the last seasons. He is always the way he is. He just grows old, that's all. Will from Stranger Things. His childhood is ruined by traumatic events. And when he finally comes back his friends are too busy being in love to care. Azula. Don't get me wrong. I still hate her guts. But her and Zuko are examples of how shitty parenting can differently fuck up your kids. Ocarina of Time Link. Poor dude lived a tragedy. Woodhouse the butler from Archer. Treated like shit throughout the whole series by pretty much everyone. Missed out on his last chance to see his brother because of his asshole boss. Reduced to living in an empty pool. Used as an online prostitute. Then died off-screen a penniless and unloved heroin addict. Tom from Tom and Jerry. Edit. Wow, a lot of updoots and Jerry hate. Alucard from Castlevania. The monster from Frankenstein, the novel. The monster is born and Frankenstein immediately runs away because he made him too ugly. Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy. He ended up truly caring about Quill and the others. He sacrificed himself to ensure the safety and well-being of the others. I also loved that he called Groot Twig. I cried when he died. Sirius Black. Kif. Mrs. Everdeen from The Hunger Games. She loses her husband in a mine explosion. Then almost loses Katniss in The Hunger Games twice. And then Prim dies another explosion. Thomas from the Maze Runner series of novels. That kid is put through a ridiculous amount of emotional and physical trauma only to have everything he's ever done be destroyed by himself. Really mostly any second-born child of a royal family. 'Cause the first one, this is my heir, they shall inherit the throne. And the second one it's like, oh. And this Bob. And then wonder why Bob is such a mess. Neville Longbottom. His parents are alive but were tortured into insanity by Bellatrix when he was a baby. He never mentions them. And there's only one scene in the books where Harry gets a proper glimpse into Neville's life. During a visit to the St. Mungo's Hospital. Neville's parents are completely lost and don't even seem to recognize their son. I just find it incredibly poignant that what is ostensibly a comic relief character has such a tragic backstory. But in spite of that, in the face of deadly adversity, overcomes his fears and becomes a hero. Fry's dog. Seymour. Like if you like hentai. Anakin Skywalker. Zuko. He turned out better for his experience. But that shouldn't have to have happened. The Ender Dragon. Imagine being the last of your kind and pregnant. Then some random dude comes to your home and slaughters you. Imagine being infinitely reborn by 4 crystals that were supposed to keep you alive. Only to be slaughtered. Again and again. Forever. Rue. The fish from SpongeBob who is always hurting his leg. Like, at this point it's not just a series of coincidences. It's a full-blown curse as whenever his leg recovers it is injured almost immediately after. When will the final injury ensue and he will be forced to amputate? Will we ever know? His life is a perpetual chain of events resulting in pain and suffering that cannot be stopped. Neville from Harry Potter. He is bullied by his peers, his grandma, his parents are in a mental ward, and on top of that his teacher in year 4 for defense against the dark arts was one of the people who put in parents in the mental ward. He is tortured and beaten by Death Eaters, and the cherry on top, he had to lead a rebellion in Hogwarts by himself. Stress LVL 20. Probably Captain Rex. He spent 3 years fighting for the wrong side without even knowing until it was too late. Then all his brothers turned on him. And his one friend through it all was Ahsoka, who he had to say goodbye to. Not knowing Anakin or Obi-Wan's fate, but knowing that all of his clone friends had turned evil. Or died. Meg Griffin from Family Guy. Her family is insanely neglectful and abusive. She's bullied by everyone for no reason. And it seems like the universe just hates her. It's why she was one of the 3 characters whose name is part of the character trope titled Megward the Wizard. Helga from Hey Arnold. Lenny from Of Mice and Men. Logan from Veronica Mars had one of the most absurdly terrible lives, and I'll be upset about it forever. I want to list details but not sure what the statute of limitations is on spoilers. So just trust me on this. Edit. I learned how to do the spoiler tag. Also thanks for commiserating. Friends. It helps to share the pain. Seriously. Even season 1 alone is enough to make his life heinously traumatic and things do not improve. His girlfriend cheats on him multiple times, including, but not solely, with his abusive father. Have you ever thought about the fact that Lily must have known about the abuse? Who then murders her? His alcoholic mom kills herself. He is saved from suicide only by being beaten up and framed for murder, which many people will always believe he committed. His next girlfriend and the love of his life leaves him for his best friend, who later abandons him and leaves entirely. Yada yada, lots more angst. Finally has a chance at happiness. Marries the love of his life. Murdered before he can even go on the honeymoon. He got like one nice afternoon. I'm so mad thinking about it again. Fitz and Simmons from Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They always seem to be dealt a bad hand during their lives as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. I mean, across 6 seasons they've both been chucked into an ocean by a guy they thought was their friend. Simmons has been stranded on an alien planet. Fitz has suffered a brain injury and faced the mental trauma of the pain he committed in a simulation when the computer rewrote his life to be an evil Hydra. Basically a Nazi doctor. Which led to a complete mental breakdown where he started envisioning the Hydra version of himself from the simulation. And they've both spent significant portions of time grieving over people, each other who they thought were dead. Plankton. Celia Foote from The Help. She broke my heart. Anakin Skywalker. All he cared about was keeping Padme safe, and when he needed help with it the most, the Jedi just told him to let his attachments go and accept that she would die. So he makes a deal with the Star Wars equivalent of the devil to save his wife, and it costs him everything until all he has left is the attachment he has to Sidious. Guts. From birth he came from the womb of a dead woman. His only motherly figure died of syphilis, causing his own father figure to sell him off towards his comrades for sex. His own father figure beaten him in a sickly rage, causing Guts to run away from home and go fight as a young merc. He then met a group of other soldiers. And then founded Happiness. And then Guts wanted to leave and go find more battles, causing the leader of his friend group, Griffith, to fucking go complete nuts. Fornicate with a princess, getting captured and causing Guts to come back and save him. Griffith was so beaten up, destroyed, and tortured he traded Guts and his friends for power of a god from actual gods. Then Griffith raped Guts' girlfriend, Casca, right in front of Guts, and Guts lost his arm and his left eye. He literally has been through hell and back and has to deal with madness. If anyone who seriously needs a happy ending, it's Guts from Berserk. Rickon Stark. Ted from Scrubs. The hospital's sad sack. Buffy Summers. After saving the world repeatedly, her mom died of a brain aneurysm, and the scene when she finds the body always makes me cry. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.